Rolling and the sound is speeding. Hi, welcome to another episode of This Week with Drew for Thursday, January 28th, 2021. Oh, all right, turn that down a little bit. What's going on? On today's episode, we got some questions from some listeners, and I finally beat... Oh, what's up? I finally beat my Zelda game, so you know, I got nothing to play. I gotta find a new game for me to play, because I'm done my game that I wanted to play. Hey, it's a freestyle for today. Hi, welcome to another episode of This Week with Drew. This is for Thursday, January 28th, 2021. What's going on? You guys feeling good, man? Have you noticed what's going on the stock market? I'm sure, unless you've got your head buried under a rock, what's going on right now in the stock market is pretty interesting. You might have seen some stuff going off about a GameStop stock going off. And so it's very interesting stuff. I have an economics background. You guys may know that I went to school for 2 years for economics until I ran a cost-benefit analysis on my time there. And I said, fuck you, school. And I hit the road for 10 years until I decided that I probably should have stayed in school. And then, so now I'm back in school. But it's interesting because it all started on Reddit, which is like some people use Reddit, some people don't, but it's actually the fourth or fifth most visited website on the internet. It's like Google, Facebook, YouTube, blah, 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 and then Reddit. And it's kind of like where back in the day, it was kind of like where all the memes would start, right? Like you would see this stuff, and then like a day later, you'd see it on Facebook, or like 2 days later, you'd see it on Twitter. And it still kind of is the case, but it's definitely more mainstream now than it was when I started. I've had an account for like 8 years or something. Anyways, there's this, it's a collection of like forums. Remember back in the day, you could have like forums or chat boards, essentially. It's like that. So and rather than called forums, they're called subreddits. So you have like Reddit and then subreddit. So anyways, there's this subreddit called Wall Street Bets. And essentially it's just a bunch of fucking dummies making Wall Street bets. Like, hey, maybe this company's going to pop off, blah, 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 blah. And I've seen Wall Street Bets since its inception. They've been around, for like a while, but less time than I've been on Reddit. And I remember when it first popped off, they had some stock and it was like something stupid, and then everybody lost a bunch of fucking money, and it was like, look at how dumb these guys are. And then they started like priding themselves on how stupid they were. But about a year ago, this guy posted, his username is Deep Fucking Value. He posted a position that he had taken on GameStop, or on GameStop, where he had bought essentially $50,000 worth of shares. And everyone was like, you're super fucked. And the post only has like 9 upvotes, right? Where it's just like, you're dumb, bro. You're going to lose all your money. But this guy, I don't know what the forces were that happened, whether it was him posting his massive gains that just kind of led to more gains. But eventually the stock popped off just a little bit, and the guy made like $100,000. And that post gets voted up to the top. And it's like, well, fuck, this guy made like $100,000. And then slowly but surely, everyone in that subreddit kind of started buying that stock because they realized that it was heavily shorted by this company called Melvin Capital, which is a hedge fund, which is like a bunch of rich people putting all their fucking money together. And what happened when a stock is shorted, what that means is that a company essentially borrowed the stock at whatever price that it's agreed upon at that time, and then they agreed to pay back later, but whatever the market value is. So the reason behind why a company would do that is if they think a company is going to fail. So right now, if their stock is trading at say, for example, just for argument, $10, and they say, okay, I'd like to short the stock or borrow it from you without putting any money down, just a small amount of money they have to put down to cover it. And then in 6 months, I'll fucking pay you back whatever the stock's worth. And then in 6 months, when the company's gone bankrupt and the stock's worth only a penny, now they get to fucking sell these and make $9.99 a share. So it's essentially if I like had an apple and you borrowed it off me and apples were $1, and then a month later, apples are $800, and now you got to pay me back for the apple. Well, it's fucking $800 for the apple now. And that's kind of what's happening right now is this large hedge fund had shorted GameStop because it's essentially Blockbuster for video games. There's no fucking reason why this company should be doing well, especially with these new next-gen consoles moving to pretty much online digital downloads only. There is no more physical game copies, and not to mention the decay of brick and mortar retail in the first place. So it's kind of like this double nail in the coffin. But all these fucking guys on Reddit got together and just said, fuck you, we're just buying this stock. And then they just started buying it. And there's 2 million people on that. The subreddit now is 5 million people because this is mainstream news now. But I remember talking to Courtney about this like a week ago. I was like, yo, there's some crazy shit going on Reddit right now. They're like fighting some capital hedge fund and they're like pumping this GameStop stock like all the way up. And when I was talking about it, it was like $80. And I was like, there's no fucking way these guys are going to break through 100. And then they busted 140. And then yesterday they busted like 350. And it's like, what the fuck? So everyone now is crying foul because this hedge fund manager, all the fucking rich cocksuckers who've been gaming the system like this for fucking since the 80s, man. Since Reaganism and Reaganomics. And now they're crying foul. So this hedge fund company gets bailed out by another couple of rich fucks to help them stay liquid and whatever. And then it's just a big circular dick in your ass for those guys. But what they've done now is the app that all these Americans were using. It was this company called Robinhood. And it was, they purported, like their whole message was like, oh, we're democratic trading or whatever. But now Robinhood has suspended trading on not only GME GameStop, but also the other 3 stocks that this Wall Street Bets was rallying around, which were AMC movies like theaters, Nokia, and fucking BlackBerry. So it's like all these 4 companies that's like, okay, so movie theaters, AMC, and then Nokia and BlackBerry and GameStop. It's like, what the fuck? This seems so stupid on the outside, but these stocks are so heavily shorted right now. So essentially now it's become this game of crowdsourced chicken versus 2 million fucking dummies or self-proclaimed retards. That's the word that they use. They for themselves. 2 million self-proclaimed fucking retards versus Wall Street, man. And it's hilarious because these guys, it's death by 1,000 cuts, man. It's it's so funny to watch. And then I was telling Courtney about it, and then finally went mainstream like a couple days ago, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just reading about this now, like on my Twitter. Like, it's cool. I got to like hear about it like before shit fucking popped off." So that's cool, man. How about you guys? Let's go a little bit of how was my week? Okay, my week's been pretty good. I finally beat fucking Breath of the Wild, man. I finished my last divine beast. It was the lizard one, and then I had to face the fucking Fireblight Ganon. And that was not a hard battle at all. I beat that first try because I went in there with some upgraded Flamebreaker armor. And then I went straight to Hyrule Castle, and I used YouTube to find the fastest way into Hyrule because it's like a dungeon and you could go through and beat a bunch of mini bosses by circulating all the way up. Or if you got the nerds on Reddit who have put in 7,000 hours into this game, you find the optimal fucking trajectory line to take to avoid all enemies and get you to the boss, and which is exactly what I did, man. Because I ain't fucking around with no fucking dungeon shit. I just want to do the main quest. I want it to be easy, man. I want, I want the experience of it. I don't need to be challenged. I want to be like a first person movie. So I fucking roll in to Hyrule Castle. I got my ancient armor on. I got my ancient shield, my ancient bow. I got like 20 ancient arrows, a fucking 99 bomb arrows, 99 shock arrows, fucking everything loaded up. All my Mipha's Grace, everything is loaded up. Everything's ready to fucking go. And then I go and I fight the bad guy, and I made sure I watched only one battle because I don't want to go into the boss fights like knowing too much because then it's like kind of like ruins it, you know? But everyone was saying that it was gonna be easy, and then I go in to do the boss fight, and it was like mad easy, bro. Like I've thought there was way harder bosses throughout the world and some of the underbosses in the Divine Beasts, like the fucking the water one, bro, was way the fuck harder than Calamity Ganon. But then at the end, he goes into, spoiler alert, he goes into some big fucking creature, and then you have to ride on a horse and shoot him with a bow. And I never rode really on horses that much or did any bow shooting, so it took me forever to fucking shoot the guy with the bow. But then I finally got it, and then it does the little ending cutscene or whatever, and you're like, fucking A, and then the princess is saved, and blah, blah, blah. And then it does this typical like Mario thing. I've done a joke about this on stage but it's like, it took me 100 hours to beat Mario, and as a reward, I just got a list of Japanese names. It's like, you're done. Let me present you with a list of Japanese names, which is what happened at the end of Zelda. And then I was thinking, okay, so like, the game's gonna be over, and then you're gonna get to go back into the world without Calamity Ganon there. But then it just like, I didn't know this. This is the first Zelda game I played. They transport you back to the fucking right to the moment before you beat the boss. So you can never live in the world without the Calamity Ganon, bro. And I was like, man, what a fucking, that's what hell is, bro. Like for Link or for anybody, man, like you have this quest and you are aching to achieve it, and then you finally achieve it, and then right when you do it, you get transported back to the fucking beginning of it, and you can never ever complete the quest ever. And that's a fucking allegory for life, bro, because you don't know when your quest is gonna end, so all you get is the quest, and you gotta be happy with the quest. Because I was done, and I was expecting a world without the goo, and like, you know, and like maybe I'll be able to run around Hyrule without in the castle and see what it's like, and the people will start to come back. Nah, man. All you got was the journey. Are you happy with that? All you get is the journey, man. Court and I were watching this mountain climbing documentary, and this fucking guy couldn't make it across this one thing. It took him like 7 days, and he's starting to be like, fuck, man, is this it? And then he realized, he's like, all I get was the training, and I don't ever get to go to the top of this mountain. But so it's like, was my last like 4 years preparing for this like a fucking waste of time? Did I have fun doing it? Like, will I be okay with myself if I don't get to achieve this? It was the friends we made along the way. I don't fucking know, but now's a good time to say thank you to the people who pay for the show. Thank you guys. Where's my fucking Patreon list? There's so many of them. Can't remember 11 names. We got fucking Taryn and Joel and Nick and Mac and Colette and Blair and Bubba and Joel and Brees and Marnus and fucking Tunde and Taryn and Andre and Mike D and fucking Isaac Joel, John Greg, Isaac Joel, Mike, and all the fucking and all the Patreons, man. So speaking of Patreon, oh yeah, and one more advertisement. Oh, also this is sick. I just got a word from King Tut's Cannabis. We're gonna do a fucking extract giveaway. So stay tuned for that, man. We're going to do a follow them, follow me, and tag a friend promo from my Instagram. So that's a cool thing. They got a new social media lady, and she's doing really good. So they're going to send me a bunch of shit. So go to kingtutscannabis.com. They got a sale on some new $99 ounces in. If you're into that, they got some fucking great extracts. Oh, also speaking of Nick and Mac, I know why there's been an outbreak of COVID at the fucking post office. That's why your shit is taking so fucking long to get to you. There's like a COVID outbreak. So go to kingtutscannabis.com and use the promo code Drew for 10% off your order. You get 10% off, and if it's your first time, you get 15% off because we're still drug dealers and we hook you up if it's your first time. Go to kingtutscannabis.com and use the promo code Drew for 10% off your order. King Tut's Cannabis. Smoke like an Egyptian. Okay, so speaking of Patreon, I'm gonna start a new show. This is not a big exciting news or anything like that, but I got some interviews lined up with some of my comedian friends. I'm gonna give my Patrons a little more juice. So I'm gonna start interviewing all my famous comedian friends and putting it on my Patreon only. So fuck you. If you want to see the interviews with all my Juno Award-winning famous comedian friends, then you gotta fucking pay up, buddy. Okay, so now we're gonna answer some questions. What is the name of this segment? What do we got? We don't even have a question answering segment. This is the first time anybody's ever asked me questions on the podcast. Okay, so let me pull this fucking shit up here. Where's this guy? Where's this fucking guy? Where is that? Okay, Anthony, here it is. Anthony from the Discord server. He was in reference to the steak on my fork, story from last week. Okay, Anthony is Nick's little brother. So he goes at 4:20. This guy joins the Discord server at 4:20 a.m., which is the true 4:20. An ultimate stoner will wake up at 4:20 in the morning because they know it's 04:20, and 4:20 is actually 16:20. So the true 420. Drew Bame talking about eating a steak off a fork over the sink is the most chaotic thing I've imagined in a long time. 5 bites? How small is this steak? How big are the bites? Fuck, I'm going to bed. Dude, his laugh is so funny. Thank you. Me and Seth Rogen both got good laughs. Okay, so how big was the steak? How many bites was it? I'm gonna go with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, like 5 or 6 bites. That's a good guess. It was probably 5 or 6 bites. How small is the steak? The steak, it was like a regular, like a New York, maybe like an 8-ounce, maybe like, no, it was like a New York strip loin. It was probably like that, about the size of, like, if you put it across your face, it would cover your eyes. If you were to wear it as a steak mask, you could. And it was about that big. And how small is the steak? How big are the bites? I take big bites, actually. They're fucking really big bites. So yeah, and it was a steak, and then I just had it on the fork, man, and it was a little bit of a lean, and then you just fucking eat it, dude. So there you fucking go, Anthony. Welcome to the Drew crew, man. What do you guys think? Look at these little guys. Okay. Okay, so that's the show for this week. Thank you guys so much. I'm looking forward to getting the interviews up on Patreon. We got some guests lined up already. It was super easy. Everybody's down to do a podcast. And I have lots of friends, actually, who've been waiting to do my podcast. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting on Patreon and buying dope off King Tuts. Well, I'm sad. I beat Calamity Ganon, and I got no more quests to do. I got the RPG. Finish the game, fucking blues.